Well, I think it was inevitable, and I've seen this coming for a long time based on the very few times that I actually watched 5 minutes.
Lady Colin Campbell and Tom Bower have just lit a fuse under the royal world, revealing secrets long buried beneath layers of royal silence. At the center of it all, the births of Meghan and Harry's children, Archie and Lilibet. What once lived in whispers behind gilded palace doors has now burst into the public spotlight, and the Montecito couple is reportedly furious, racing to regain control of the narrative. But this isn't tabloid noise. These claims come from two of the most relentless, well-connected royal biographers, and what they've shared raises chilling questions about timelines, secrecy, and a royal tradition that may not be as polished as it seems.
Call.
And come to you in a second, Lady C. Tom, what do you think financially for Harry and Meghan? As I just said, I think everybody knows they're at best low-level millionaires.
For a couple who built their brand on honesty and openness, this might be the moment everything falls apart. This is the one story Meghan and Harry hoped would never see the light of day. For years, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have polished their public image, every appearance curated, every word measured, every headline managed. But now that carefully built facade is cracking. Lady Colin Campbell and Tom Bower, two of Britain's most fearless royal biographers, are pulling back the curtain on the one secret the Sussexes fought hardest to protect. The truth behind the births of Archie and Lilibet. No distractions, no filters, just cold, uncomfortable facts. From the very beginning, they wanted distance from the crown, but it's the silence around this chapter that speaks loudest of all.
Serious financial problems for them, isn't it?
I think the writing is on the wall on this one. I think the world sees this exactly the same. They're living this extravagant lifestyle.
Archie and Lilibet's arrivals were wrapped in mystery. No traditional photo ops, no smiling doctors on hospital steps, no official palace announcements, just silence where royal fanfare was expected. But now Lady Colin Campbell and Tom Bower are connecting the dots, and the picture they're painting is far from the polished version Meghan and Harry offered the world. Let's start with Archie. The Sussexes claimed he was born at Portland Hospital in London, but Lady C says the timeline just doesn't add up. No trace of royal security, no hospital staff accounts, not a single confirmed sighting, and now whispers are growing louder. Some insiders hint Archie may not have even been born in the UK. If that turns out to be true, the implications could shake the royal storybook to its core.
These people have been relying on this Netflix money. That source of income is going to dramatically dry up very, very soon. The future doesn't look good for them economically, does it?
No, it doesn't. And in fact,
this wouldn't just be a breach of public trust. It could shake the very foundation of Archie's royal standing. And then there's Lilibet, whose California birth was meant to mark a fresh start, a clean break from the monarchy, but now Tom Bower is questioning whether even her birth certificate was subtly changed or cleverly worded to fit a polished PR narrative. Because the details just don't match what Meghan and Harry told the world, and to make things even more complicated, they claimed Queen Elizabeth personally gave her blessing to use the name Lilibet. Yet palace insiders, backed by Lady Colin Campbell, insist that approval never happened, suggesting that what looked like a touching royal tribute might actually be built on a lie. And as more people begin to ask the obvious, where were the doctors, the palace press, the royal medical teams that were front and center during William and Kate's deliveries, it becomes clear that Meghan and Harry kept everything tightly sealed. And Lady C believes that was intentional, a deliberate strategy, because they knew that if they followed the same royal protocol, the truth might not stay hidden for long.
is busy bigging themselves up in the hope that if they said they were worth X plus Y, Z would pitch in and offer them something commensurate.
And with no confirmed medical presence or royal birth formalities, it's no wonder the public remains skeptical, especially when you remember Meghan's emotional story of giving birth under immense stress, claiming the media frenzy forced her into hiding. But Lady Colin Campbell directly challenges those claims, calling them carefully crafted, emotionally manipulative narratives designed to win sympathy. pointing out that there were no reporters stationed outside, no helicopters circling overhead, because in reality, the press had no idea Meghan was even in labor until after the baby was born, suggesting that the entire trauma narrative was manufactured for effect. And according to Tom Bauer, this wasn't just a misstep, it was intentional, an open act of rebellion, because Meghan didn't just want to give birth her way, she wanted to redefine what royal motherhood looked like, rejecting tradition as if it were a cage she was determined to break free from.
Their profits were going to be pegged on what they produced and how well things did. So their payment has never been what people have been making it out.
Harry stood by her side, but in doing so, they turned their backs on the very standards of transparency that have always kept the monarchy accountable. And while the palace wasn't just disappointed but completely blindsided, the truth is now clawing its way to the surface, threatening to turn the couple's long-protected secrecy into their most devastating downfall yet. Because the world is watching more closely than ever before, and this time, Meghan and Harry may have finally run out of ways to spin the story. With new questions rising fast. Did Meghan hide her pregnancies from royal doctors? Was the name Lilibet a calculated move to force the Queen into public approval? And why behind the scenes? Are the Sussexes scrambling so desperately to shut down the voices of biographers? All while royal insiders, backed by Lady Colin Campbell, suggest that what's coming next could be even more explosive.
Montecito, and some who have private planes, and she has a reputation for trying to cadge lifts.
Really?
That
That somehow doesn't surprise me. So Tom, in terms that you and I...
Meghan quietly sidestepped the royal medical team during both of her pregnancies. While tradition calls for palace-approved doctors to oversee royal births, she chose her own private team allegedly without the Crown's knowledge and kept officials guessing until the very end. One palace aide later admitted, "We had no idea where she was or what was going on." Meghan's inner circle shut everyone out. That wasn't independence, it was avoidance. And when the name Lily was unveiled, said to honor Queen Elizabeth's most personal nickname, palace insiders told Tom Bauer there was never any official blessing from the royals.
Harry's horse-based docu-soap Polo, which was, I did watch it, but it's unwatchable, absolute rubbish. That came in, you're going to like this, in the Netflix charts at...
Some saw it as a sweet gesture, but for others, naming their daughter Lilibet crossed a line. According to Lady C, the Queen felt genuinely hurt because Meghan and Harry never asked. One insider put it simply, they told Her Majesty. They didn't ask. And in doing so, they set a trap crafted so that if the Queen objected, she'd seem cold and unkind. A tribute, or quiet manipulation dressed as honor. Photos of Archie and Lilibet came out weeks, sometimes months after their births. Meghan said it was for privacy. But Lady C and Tom Bauer hint at something deeper, a plan to dodge royal scrutiny. Commentators have long whispered that Meghan refused official palace photographers for a reason. Bauer claims the secrecy gave them full control over what the world saw and when they saw it.
$20 million a year. But the problem with these two is they didn't deliver. Netflix looked at the programs they were giving them and said, this is a pile of crap. We don't want it. That's why their deal has gone down the chute.
No one outside their circle could confirm a thing. Every photo, every press release polished to perfection. This wasn't royal transparency, it was Hollywood illusion. Then came another twist, courtesy of Lady Colin Campbell. The birth certificate of Archie was quietly edited. At first, Meghan's full name and title were there. But weeks later, Rachel Meghan vanished, replaced only with Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Why, Lady C believes it was a strategic mover branding Meghan as strictly royal, detaching her from the commoner identity of Meghan Markle. A way to boost her standing in elite Hollywood circles. But the palace didn't see it coming. In a rare public reaction, royal aides released a statement denying any involvement, insisting it was all the Sussexes doing. To some, it smelled less like confusion and more like calculated brand management. Now, with the pressure rising, sources say Harry and Meghan's team is scrambling, trying to discredit both Lady C and Tom Bauer before the narrative gets away from them.
For like the last 2 years, that's all we've heard. $100 million, $100 million. It doesn't work that way. You produce, you get this much. You produce, you get this much. You produce, and then when you don't produce, you don't get nothing.
They sent legal threats, leaned on media outlets, even pushed to have interviews scrubbed from platforms. But it's too late. The damage is done. The questions are too big and the facts too loud to ignore. One palace insider didn't mince words. This isn't about privacy anymore. It's about lies and consequences. Meghan and Harry set out to change the game. But instead, they may have set the stage for their own fall. With Lady C and Tom Bauer promising even more bombshells, the royal family's silence says everything. As the truth claws its way to daylight, one thing is clear behind the flawless Instagram posts and glossy Netflix deals. There's a story unraveling in plain sight. The walls of secrecy are cracking and the tremors are shaking Montecito at its core. Their once protected image as devoted, private parents is now under siege. Lady C and Bauer haven't just lit a fire. They've sparked a royal reckoning. And the world isn't just watching anymore, it's questioning everything. In a scramble to stem the fallout, Meghan's legal team has begun sending cease and desist letters to tabloids and online voices daring to echo the claims. But the irony? The harder they push, the louder the echo grows. One insider at the Daily Mail put it simply, the more they threaten, the more curious we get.
Pretend she was richer and wealthier and a woman of more status than she actually was.
Hold on, Kevin. Correct me if I'm wrong now. We all know Meghan boasted about being...
What are they really hiding? Instead of calming the flames, Harry and Meghan may have poured fuel on the fire. For years, the American press stood as their protective shield, but now, even that bubble is starting to burst. Outlets like Page 6 and the New York Post are breaking ranks, publishing blistering stories that question the Sussex brand and the strange secrecy surrounding their children. Behind closed doors, Netflix is said to be rethinking its future, with the couple a sign that corporate allies are beginning to see the drama as a growing risk. And in Hollywood, once there's blood in the water, loyalty fades fast. In the UK, polls show public trust in the Sussexes has dropped by a staggering 65%. And in America, once their safe haven doubt is spreading, parents are asking, why all the secrecy? Why keep your children from even basic royal traditions unless there's something you don't want the world to see? Many are now echoing Lady C's claims that the Sussexes have tried to weaponize privacy, all while cashing in on a carefully filtered image. Even longtime fans are beginning to admit something doesn't feel right. And the royal family? Still silent, at least in public. But according to insiders, palace aides are quietly preparing, crafting legal strategies and PR responses in case the storm gets worse. Tom Bauer reports that Prince William is especially outraged. He sees the manipulation, and now he's ready to act, not just to defend the crown, but to protect its future. Because if this turns into a battle for truth, the gloves may be coming off soon.